I guess, history was made. I think we can hands down say that we witnessed absolute greatness last night. Something that I think won't be replicated for a very, very long time. It may just be another 50 years before we see such a dominant team. Last night we saw in the rugby league's world witnessed history, the Penrith Panthers, they won 4 in a row. Last year when they won 3 in a row, it was absolutely ridiculous. And then they lost Crichton, they lost, who else did they lose last year? They lost a couple of other players, and we thought there's no way they could win 4 in a row. Come to the end of 2024, and they are the victors once again. They have won 4 in a row, and to be honest with you, there's nothing to say they can't win 5 in a row. I understand that the Dragons have done 11 in a row, but it was in a completely different era, in a game that was completely different. It was just a remarkable effort yesterday by the Penrith Panthers to win 4 in a row against a Melbourne team that was quite good. And everybody thought, Melbourne would be able to get one on them with that ridiculous spine of theirs. But let me tell you, the Panthers are untouchable. But before that, this episode is brought to you by Latitude Accountants, small business accountants who just get tradies. Whether you're a sole trader or running a growing business, Latitude has got your accounting needs covered. With it, a free consultation is available for all ABN holders. Visit latitudeaccountants.com.au today. Latitude Accountants, taking the hassle out of your business accounting. We'll have the links for the accounting for the Latitude Accountants in our description. We'll also have a link to their Instagram. They're always doing giveaways and some really cool competitions for everybody that sort of follows and follows them on Instagram. They've been a great supporter of the podcast. Fan of the podcast as well, and we just want to give him a great shout out for supporting us through this final series, just helping us continue to improve the podcast. Even though we were late today, we're definitely getting there. We're definitely going to grow. Dibbo, welcome.
Yeah, mate. What a way to end the year, basically. We got to see 4 in a row, something most living people haven't seen before. The last time that happened was about 60 plus years ago, so I'm sure anyone that's seen it's probably in their 70s now, or at least. To me, it was an underwhelming game. I felt yesterday, not living up to intensity, or even the crowd was quite flat. You were there, so I'm sure you have a lot to tell us about it. But it was nice to see 4 in a row.
Wasn't it what? It was absolutely incredible. And yes, I was there. I was representing the kennel with my doggies jersey and doggies cheers, and you hear it. We have a live blog going up, a video log of the grand final going up tomorrow. That's almost finished editing. That'll be going up early tomorrow. So if you guys want to sort of experience the grand final or see what it was like, you'll get a great sense of it. We made sure to take as many. As much of the atmosphere as you could, but I want to disagree with you, Dibbo. I thought it was a great grand final. I thought it was a really tough one grand final, and it wasn't one of the blowout grand finals. And the thing is, it was on a knife's edge really until the last 5 minutes, where at any point you thought if Melbourne scored, they could score a second one and potentially take it away from the Panthers. It was a great grand final from where I was sitting. The atmosphere was great. It wasn't a sellout, which I thought was quite disappointing. To see a team go 4 in a row, I thought there would have been 86,000 screaming fans there. We just got over 80,000. It was a great. I think it was a great spectacle, and it was. What I think the Panthers have done is they've set a benchmark for every other good team to try and aim towards. Get there, I don't know, but it's still fantastic to know that they have set a very, very, very strong benchmark. I just want to give a very, very warm welcome and shout out to our kennel members, Maurice Collins. We've got Jamie Deesdale as always here. So welcome and thank you guys for always being for supporting us and being with us at every single episode. Thank you so much, guys. Your support, your membership, your love means so much to us. Now, there's a lot happening in the comments, but the first thing I want to start with is I need to congratulate Paul Alamoti. Paul Alamoti played out of his skin. I don't think anyone thought Paul Alamoti had that in him. The game he played last night, he wasn't the best on field, wasn't anywhere near it. But, you know, a 19-year-old who last year had a very average season with a very average Bulldogs team, has gone to the Panthers and clearly understood the assignment. He's clearly gained confidence, and both his attack and his defense has improved markedly. He is a Canterbury junior, and I'm so proud. I'm so happy for him to have won a grand final. Not only was he good in attack, but he was really, really good in defense. And that was one area that I thought he would struggle. If you look at where he came from, last year against the Knights, his side conceded something like 8 tries, and the Dogs had 66 points put on them. This year, he's gone to the Panthers, taken a shot, taken a chance, given to him by the fact that Taylor May was sacked, and they didn't have any other person to go into that center position, and he's taken it with both hands and has come out the other side. It's been absolutely remarkable, and I have to say, absolutely wonderful work by Paul Alamoti. I'm very, very happy for him to get to where he is and to have won a grand final after the abysmal year that he had. And just while I've got everybody here, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you're new, please be sure to subscribe. Just helps us, continue to get into the algorithm. Please just give us a thumbs up. That'll be great. Dogs are always saying Alamoti went beast mode. Absolutely. I think Alamoti absolutely killed it. It's been, it was such a remarkable performance by Alamoti.
I think the best 2 games he played in his career, I know it's only a young career, but his best 2 games have come in a preliminary final and a grand final. That's what I think. His defence was really sound in the last 2 games. Like, wow. And if you've seen him during games, sometimes having grasping at air, but not only was his defence absolutely brilliant, one of those tries, you could pretty much credit him for setting it up when he kind of like went in, crashed, spun, offloaded.
Oh, that's right. That was for
he deserved that credit. And then he scored one as well. Those last 2 games, I reckon they're his best performances. I know it's only a young career, but full credit to him. Made his debut for Canterbury. He was let go. He spent times in reserve grade throughout the at Penrith. He did grab his opportunities when he can. Didn't set the world alight at Penrith, but he
came good at the right time.
You know what? He wasn't out of basically.
He wasn't out of his depth. He still got there, and to be honest, I
honestly thought he would. I thought, I still thought they'll win the preliminary final, but I thought he might be a weakness in the grand final, and no, far from it. I thought he outplayed his opponent, so he was one of the better players on the field as well. I thought as well, And
to be honest,
well done.
the try sealing, the try that sealed the match, for him to sort of go right to the edge, put the ball down with one hand, as Dogs of 4 has mentioned, was just, honestly, I didn't even know he had that in his arsenal. I didn't know he could even do that. That's what surprised me.
He did it once or twice this year, but the funny thing is he dropped it. This time, it came off.
It came off for him. It was fantastic.
It made it look easy too.
His performance was just...
His defence was great.
His defence was excellent. Some of those really... And you could tell he's worked on his technique, because his tackling is not...
What a swap.
He was wrapping the legs up, really well, or coming from in and sort of shifting. And one of his problems was always moving laterally in the defensive line. And I thought he did that very well last night, and even in the preliminary final, as you mentioned. So, look, massive congratulations to Paul Alamoti. Unbelievable how much can change in 1 year in rugby league.
All the players that Canterbury's got him from Penrith, and one went Penrith grabbed one. Still a winner. Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, we got... How long is his deal with Penrith? Is it a 2-year deal?
I think they signed him for 2 years.
Oh, yes, he's got one more year to run, and then he'll get some serious money, whether he stays or leaves. Good on him.
Look, man, there's nothing to suggest that the Panthers won't be a force again next year, even with losing Luai and Fisher
100%.
Harris.
You'd have to install them as favourites to go 5 in a row, because they just know how to win.
I mean...
I know they're losing more players, but they're not the only side that ever has lost players. But they just know how to win. They keep the core.
We'll get to that. I want to talk about Two other players who, look, they weren't the best on field, but I have to take my hat off to these guys. To'o and Turuva.
Oh, yeah.
Brian To'o and Sunia Turuva. They were probably the two, like, outside Liam Martin and Isaiah Yeo, the best on field. Turuva was absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, he was safe.
It wasn't that he was just safe. When you're watching it live, right, if you can focus more on individual plays because you're not sort of dictated to by the camera. And Turuva was everywhere. Turuva was absolutely everywhere. Turuva was just running his absolute heart out. Like I could not believe how much energy and how much aggression this kid has for such a small body, right? Maybe not as unstoppable as Brian To'o, but it was just remarkable. I could not believe the level of intensity that Turuva was showing, and the Tigers have got a good one. But then Brian To'o, in 58 minutes, according to the NRL app, I think he's run for about 240 meters.
No surprise.
In 58 minutes.
And he went off injured.
And he went off injured.
He was playing injured to begin with.
It was just like...
It's crazy.
For me, it's just these guys play like forwards. Like, there were so many comments in the stadium as we're watching. They're like, these guys run harder than most teams' forwards.
What a player.
The whole back line was just incredible. Like, Dylan Edwards as well. Like, you got to take your hat off to this guy. Sure, he wasn't the best on the field, but, and there's another thing, actually, that I have to mention about Edwards that he doesn't get enough credit for. Yesterday, I was trying to notice and pay attention to what Edwards does off the ball, and he sets up the defensive line. He's so vocal. He's always marshalling. Like even the forwards, like when they were on their when the Melbourne Storm were attacking on their 20, it was Dylan Edwards marshalling.
But that is his role.
And it's incredible though how good he does it.
But every fullback does that.
But he does, his value to that team.
He does it better than others.
His value to that team.
He does it better than others. You're right.
It was just remarkable. To see him perform that way. What did you think?
I don't think I've seen Dylan Edwards have a bad game. So, again, he was probably around top 5 best on the field. Yeah. Probably, if not top 5 on the field, top 5 for Penrith anyway. Martin and Isaiah were the top 2 for me. So if Isaiah, I tipped Martin to get when I was about 60 minutes in, I thought Martin was going to get it. But then after full time, I thought to myself, if Isaiah gets named for man of the match, I've got no complaints because he was absolutely brilliant. Cleary, as usual, was just classy. Didn't need to overplay his hand. You pointed out something about Edwards marshalling the defensive line, so they just controlled the game, really. If the defence held, they knew they were in front. Leota and Fisher-Harris, what players, man. Just wow.
Actually, on that, I thought Leota had a bit of a quiet game yesterday.
There's more to than just looking at stats. There was a few charges he made up the middle where he bent the line. He's just an imposing sort of player, regardless. Defensively, he muscled up. It's the physicality. This player can take 15 hit-ups and be pussy weak. Or he can take 8 or 9 hit-ups with absolute intent and physicality, and it leaves a dent on the opposition. And that's what I felt he did. I don't think he had any soft carries, any soft tackles.
He never does.
His intent was off the kickoff. If you remember, Penrith kicked off the start of the game. And Leota came and gave, if anyone noticed, he gave Harry Grant a shoulder in the back. Did you see that?
No, I actually wasn't.
And sent him tumbling to the ground at the kickoff. So he was there to get dirty. The twin towers of Leota and Fisher-Harris, they didn't wilt. They made sure the opposition didn't get it over them.
They felt everyone, the opposition.
Yeah.
The other thing I think that was really interesting was Nathan Cleary had 29 runs.
Yeah.
For 212 meters. I thought that was definitely a big part of the plan to tire
they didn't give
it out.
Yeah, they didn't give him opportunities by throwing the ball. You know how sometimes you present by overly throwing the ball, that could present an intercept opportunity in error or something like that.
They were just polished, well polished.
They're just we'll just digging in. If anyone that plays union, or I'm sure you did play union, but sometimes when you're ahead and you just got the ruck going and you got the flankers going in, the fly half will come in and just keep directing his forwards, carry the ball 2 meters forward, just keep him pinged down there. It was kind of like that.
It was remarkable. Just how well oiled they were yesterday. Everybody did their job perfectly, which is why they were able to shut out Melbourne so clinically. But I have to
Melbourne's in it nothing.
Yeah, look, I mean, we'll get
Nothing. Didn't even throw nothing. That's what was one of the more placid, boring grand finals for me anyway.
Look, right on cue, Brian Dibbs mentioning, Ivan Cleary's coaching, and I thought spot on. Yesterday, you could tell Ivan Cleary outcoached Bellamy.
Where's that Melbourne supporter that we always get on? He's gone missing.
But
Zahe.
the coaching performance by Ivan Cleary was remarkable. If you saw, one of the things they did so much yesterday was the inside ball, then go wide, or Nathan Cleary running it as opposed to kicking it. And you could tell that the Melbourne team across the park were just gassed. No matter how good they are, no matter how fit they were gassed. And even Jerome Hughes, for example, he did not have the energy to run like he usually does because he was so gassed because of the defense that the Melbourne Storm had to do. And you could tell by half-time that Panthers were clearly on top.
They're so smart because Melbourne's got a speedier side in the backs, like, Warbrick and Coates and Pappenhausen over 40 metres, for example. And even those centres are pretty fast. The style they went in just to make sure they didn't give them any opportunities to use any width of the field, nothing.
And you know what it was as well? It was interesting because Warbrick and Xavier Coates are much, much taller than To'o and Taruva. And you could tell.
But even the kicks didn't come off.
But when they did,
Penrith took them.
It wasn't just that. What I realized was, and this you could tell,
only
was
once.
A tactic. They'd let them catch the ball
and tackle them,
and then they would swarm them with 5-6 defenders. And you know that Cleary had a perfect plan for everything. For everything that the Melbourne Storm could throw at them, Ivan Cleary had a plan. Right? Yeah. It was just remarkable what he was able to do.
Don't play an expansive style against them. Keep it compressed.
They absolutely choked them out.
Reminds you of when Cronulla beat them. They played that sort of style, and then also when the scrum broke, the scrum broke in half. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And Barber went up the middle. Jeez, Flanagan pulled that out of the rabbit out of the hat. But they played a similar style. They didn't play that expansive style.
You're right.
Besides that one up the middle, and so.
But it was, for me, it was just a master stroke of coaching. And to be honest, I think Ivan Cleary needs to be up there with, in the discussion of the best coaches ever. I think it's hard in the salary cap era where you continue to lose.
He's made 6 grand finals
after superstar after superstar, and then to win and to keep getting people up, for him to keep the team hungry to win another premiership. Like, for me, that is incredible in and of itself.
They didn't have that disaster in the first half in 2020. We'd be looking at 5 in a row. One with Phil.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I mean, if you imagine, if they didn't if they don't lose Luai next year, I reckon they're on their way to 5th. Or if they didn't lose Fisher Harris, they're easily on their way to 5th.
We'll see how they go. We'll see who the replacements are. Obviously, you told me Blaise Talangi.
Well, they're saying Blaise Talangi will be 6 in place of Luai.
And they've got some good young props coming
They've got some
through.
very good. And then
hard to replace Fisher Harris.
They've also got Isaiah Papali'i coming in.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he's not a prop, it'd be interesting to see where he will play. Yeah.
Ooh, 5 in a row favourites. Just know how to win.
Yeah, and John Sard's mentioning in the comments that Nathan Cleary will struggle to hit 250 career games. Shoulder is dodgy. Well, I mean, in the number of games he's already played, I don't know how many he's played. He's already won 4 grand finals. He could retire tomorrow and he'd be satisfied and happy. You know what I mean? Like, he's just absolutely fantastic.
He's played in 5 grand finals. Wow.
Like, surely for me, Nathan Cleary will now have to start being mentioned among the greats, amongst the best ever.
He's won the same amount of grand finals that Thurston and Johns have combined.
Yeah, that's right.
So
in a row. And who's to say he can't win another one or two? Who's to say that that?
All right, definitely there is more coming.
If they can keep the rest of the players together,
I reckon he's got another at least 2 or 3 grand final wins in his career left in him.
I wouldn't be surprised at this Panthers team.
At least 2 or 3.
I mean, you look at people talk about how great this Melbourne team is, and look, no doubt this Melbourne team is great. But they've won 3 grand finals. If you take away the salary cap grand finals, they've won 3 grand finals over a period of 10 years. Panthers have won 4 in 5 years and 5 grand finals in a row. So 4 in a row. So They've got some great juniors coming through as well, as Brian Dib is mentioning. You know, I'm scared to think of what the Panthers can potentially do next year. But look, I think, you know, talking about all the players that the Panthers have lost, I have to talk about one that they've still got. Their captain courageous, Isaiah Yeo. Out on the field, every run Isaiah Yeo made was absolutely incredible. To see the way he performed, I had him personally. I had him as my Clive Churchill medalist.
Is he their games record holder, or was he? What is he, number 3 on the list now, or something?
For
Penrith?
most games?
Yeah.
He's played the most games for Penrith now.
Wow.
He's played the most games for Penrith.
What a player.
He's absolutely incredible. You know, he's their captain, courageous. You can see
he's ever present.
He's remarkable. And someone mentioned earlier that, you know, since Origin, he's definitely played a lot better. And I agree, because he's played more of he's tried to pass less and run more. And I think he's shown his strength in running and just how good of a player he is. Like, you know, on the field, you can see he's a true leader. He's someone that everybody looks up to at the Penrith Panthers.
5 in a row. They'll get next year, I think. They got McLean brothers coming through as well.
I don't know. I think Melbourne next year.
They get to Kamanu.
Yeah,
but,
you talk
let's
Kamanu.
just, you know what? Hopefully this is a loss that breaks them. They can never recover from it.
I don't think so. With a coach like Craig
I hope
Bellamy,
that Melbourne Storm flog is watching, and hopefully his team just doesn't have a successful season anymore. Anyways,
you know, I think Melbourne will be a lot better for that loss, but Isaiah Yeo was fantastic. It was great to see his performance. And look, as long as they've got Isaiah Yeo for another 2 or 3, 4 years, however long he can continue to play, you know, I still think they'll be a threat. They'll be a big threat. You know, they've got some good guys coming through next year as well. It's really scary to think, really scary to think what they can do. Brad Cambridge, F the Panthers, Brian, boring, them winning every year. Time for change next year. Storm will make the grand final next year again. Look, I don't think they're boring at all. No. I think to see them achieve history is fantastic. Can you imagine, you know, us in 10 years, 20 years, all our teams trying to emulate what the Panthers have done?
Oh, yeah, I'd love if my team won 4 in a row.
Brother, give me 2 in a row. Give me one. Give me one, I'm happy. You want 4?
I want to like experience 2, 3, 4 in a row at least. Imagine that. You're Mac Daddy for every year.
Mate, I think that we're still, you know, years away from even just 1, much less 2 or 3 in a row.
He's around the corner, I reckon.
Now, there's another guy that I think, I can't believe the way he played yesterday, and that was Scott Sorensen. He's been out for 4 weeks with a hamstring, comes in, gets parachuted straight into the starting lineup, and performs like an absolute freak. Like, he was out on his feet.
Matt Eisenhuth, 18th man for the 3rd year in a row.
4th year in a row, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poor
so
bloke.
he's won 4 grand final rings and hasn't played in any of the grand finals.
Still gets a ring. It's a team effort. So.
I mean, that has to be the most unlucky statistic ever. 4 grand finals, has got 4 rings and hasn't played in any of them. I think that's quite remarkable, to be honest.
He got paid to do nothing.
Essentially, yeah. Billy, the producer, is saying he got paid to do nothing.
I don't think he's on big bucks to begin with, but yeah.
If it's anything like 100K or whatever it might be.
No, he'll be on a bit more.
He was at the Tigers before that, Matt Eisenhuth.
Was he?
I'm sure he was.
I still think, you know, it's quite remarkable. I don't think there's ever been a player in history that's been 18th man for 4 years and, you know, 4 grand finals. But I just want to go back to Scott Sorensen. You know, he was, honestly, watching him out there in defense in the first half, he shut down so much of their attack on that left Panthers defense. He was, honestly, he's definitely one that's gone under the radar, but he adds so much to that Panthers team. And I could see why the team and Ivan Cleary have so much faith in him. I thought it would have been, you know, it would have been a stretch for him to come in. I think maybe he would have been on the bench, but I think he played, 73 minutes after being out for 4 weeks. It was just remarkable, that performance. You know, there was one tackle, actually, when the Panthers were on the Melbourne Storm were on the Panthers 20-meter line. Scott Sorensen's put a hit on, and his shoulder, I think it was in the last 10 minutes, and his shoulder was gone. He could not, I don't know if you guys saw that on TV.
Oh.
I didn't think he couldn't tackle. He was gone. He was pointing to the trainer. He was out. He was finished. He was done. And then I think it was Isaiah Yeo or Luai come up to him, they tap him, and they get into and they tell him to get into the defensive line, and he just gets back into the defensive line. They stopped the attack, and then 5 minutes later or a minute later, guess who's taking the hit up? Scott Sorensen. Absolutely freaky. Like this is the type of attitude that wins you 4 in a row. Absolutely remarkable. I could not, for me, I see some of that in the Bulldogs. I do, just only a little bit, and I hope that we can continue to build the attitude in the Bulldogs because let me tell you, that is a winner's attitude there.
Yeah, you want someone putting up their hand always.
And, I think the Dogs are definitely building that, and we've got some freaky people in our team. But I just, what the Panthers have achieved is absolutely remarkable. Now, we've spoken about a lot of good players, but we still haven't spoken about the Clive Churchill medalist. Liam Martin.
Yeah, man. Every time a try-scoring opportunity presented itself, whether it was from a pass or a kick, even the kicks, he'd wait. If he wasn't catching it, he was waiting for the bat down right the right.
Cracking it.
They almost got another 2 or 3 tries off the back of him.
Man, absolutely crazy. Incredible.
Good running, good hits.
Like just that try that he set up, the one for Paul Alamoti, where he passed that. Like just to think of it this way, right? This is the measure of the team. It was Liam Martin that went up for the ball. Right, wins the ball, and then passes it to Moses Leota, who's there backing up, who then passes it onto the winger to score. So it was back rower to forward to set like.
You see how they're a well-oiled machine. The forwards will go do the works they expect the backs to do or the halves to do.
Absolutely
That's
remarkable.
How they're such a well-oiled machine.
Remarkable. It was fantastic. Honestly, 4 in a row in the salary cap era, I think is. I can't describe it. I really can't describe how fantastic it has been. For Liam Martin to win the Clive Churchill medalist, I think cements him as one of, if not the best second rower in the game at the moment. I know people say Elias Katoa, people want to say, they want to throw out a lot of names, but I think at the moment, based on origin form, based on grand final form, Clive Churchill medalist, based on consistency, Liam Martin is the best second rower in the game. And if he can be consistent, he will cement himself as one of the best second rowers ever.
I thought Angus Crichton was the best, but anyways.
Do you think Angus Crichton, all said and done, has had a better season than Liam Martin?
I just think Angus Crichton is the best. Angus Crichton is an absolute powerhouse.
No denying how good Angus Crichton is.
Wow, he can take teams apart by himself. I think I saw that about 5 or 6 times this year. I think running-wise, he's better than Liam Martin. Defensive-wise, they're both hard. Oh, it's hard to pick him.
Liam
Martin's up there. I'm not saying he's not. He's not up. He's definitely up there. I don't know. I like styles. For me, Angus Crichton styles. I'm still picking Liam Martin in my team.
I just think Liam Martin's scruffy, do-or-die attitude.
You gotta have him there.
He's remarkable.
I'll just say, I don't know, Angus Crichton's just. Do you remember when Ockenball came on the podcast?
Yeah.
Do you remember that episode when I asked him, who is the hardest player for you to tackle?
Yeah.
And his answer was Angus Crichton.
Yeah,
he described his running style. And watched it closely this year, and I know what he meant. Far out, the guy's built like, I don't know.
Look.
He's built like cement or something.
Yeah. I think after that Clive Churchill medalist, you've got to say...
he's deserved.
Actually, you've got to go,
what a player.
In the cap for Liam Martin. Just quickly, Brad Cambridge is asking, are we happy we got rid of Alamoti and signed Sherry? I think Sherry is better myself. Look, I think Alamoti and Sherry are different players, and Sherry fits more our style than Alamoti does. And I think Alamoti fits the Penrith style a little bit better than he suits our style. It's not whether we're happy or not. I think it's just the way the cookie crumbled, and
spot on.
Very, very happy for Alamoti either way. If Alamoti had stayed with us, would he have improved? Would he have become the player that he is now?
Not at this.
I don't know.
For his career and where you guys needed to be headed, I think exactly what you said. Everything you said was right. That's the way the cookie crumbled. Also for his career, he was better off going to Penrith, an established side. Canterbury was only an 18, 19-year-old rookie. It's not what Canterbury needed at that stage. They got Bronson Sherry and Stephen Crichton.
Absolutely.
He's made the finals. I don't think he's made the finals of Alamoti's there, for example. Alamoti was good in a well-oiled machine,
yeah, that's right.
and it worked out perfectly for him. for Penrith and also for Canterbury. Canterbury got Crichton and Sherry in return, and they've made the top 8. So it'll be interesting to see if he ever does come back. But just the style, I think you guys need some speed men.
100%. And I thought Sherry suited our halves combination very, very nicely with his speed and also with his size. And you know, we haven't even seen the best of Sherry either. I think that Sherry still has a lot of improvement and development as a centre and as a player. So, you know, honestly, I'm really happy with the way things have turned out, both for the Bulldogs and for Alamoti.
Oh, yeah, no complaints.
100%. Like, again, I'm so proud of Alamoti and what he's been able to achieve. You know, now I want to talk about, I guess, a couple of things, right? Firstly, is this the best team in the modern era?
Of the modern era, definitely. You know, they're not a side stacked with a state of origin and test players. Like, you remember Brisbane would have like about 9 Queensland state of origin players with the 1 or 2 New South Welshmen in there. Like, if you remember, like the New South Wales would
And
be
pretend they were under the cap, yeah.
It was Glenn Lazarus and Chris Johns that would be the New South Wales, if anyone remembers that. And Terry Madison, for that matter. Madison. Yeah, anyways.
Pun.
Huh? That's Ryan Madison's uncle.
Yeah, I was just saying you just made a pun. Anyway, go on.
Oh, did I? And without realising, but without that matter. But, jeez. Anyway, back on topic. So, and then you had the Canberra sides of the. Do you even consider that the modern era, Canberra?
Yeah,
late 80s, early 90s.
I think you do. 80s. I mean, you still
late 80s to the mid 90s. They had a stack of players as well. Brisbane, there was scrutiny about the whole thoroughbreds. You know, that organisation. So they might have been over the cap.
I think 100%.
Canberra got caught over the cap. Somehow never got docked the premierships. And then we saw like one-off sides. Like for some reason, I still think Canterbury Bulldogs should have won more premierships.
Yeah, I think about that a lot as well.
You know, I still say it till today. Their forward pack would still smack anyone's forward pack. But for some reason, they only came out with 1 premiership. I still don't get it. Anyways.
2006 was rigged.
Melbourne's had, in the 20 years, Melbourne's had Immortals. They'll probably have 4 or 5 Immortals from that side. In my opinion, I think Greg Inglis is the greatest centre of all time. And for all to show they've only got 3 premierships, you know, whereas Penrith, this is their era. It's been going on for about 6 years, 6 or 7 years, maybe a bit longer. Let's just, you know, with Luai and all those boys coming into the fore, like James. So it's about 6, 7, 8 years. But they've already got 5 grand finals, 4 premierships in a row to show for it. There's more, whether it's in a row or not, there's definitely at least, in the next 5, 6, 7 years, there's at least, I reckon, 2 or 3 in there still to go. They are the best team. They've had to contend with 17 or 16 other sides. Every time a new side comes in, you're bound to lose players. You know, I lost at least Qatar. I'll tell you now, he'd probably be Luai's heir apparent to take over. You know, so they've had to lose players every year. They've had to juggle the salary cap because every time you win a premiership, and if you're a player, you could be Matt Eisenhuth, 18th man, or you can be Paul Alamoti that just walked in. Your value is going up. You're not going to be able to fit them all under the cap. You play the same style, people are going to, you know, other coaches, players, pundits, whatever, are going to scrutinise your style, and you got to evolve your style. You know, if you realise a few years ago, Penrith's style was probably a bit more flash, I reckon. They've kind of like, I don't know what the words you want to put for it, but they're more reserved, and they only turn it on when they need to, I feel, or the opportunity presents itself. They are the greatest side of all time, in my opinion. Like, I know everyone's going to come out and start whining and whinging about St. George 11 in a row. St. George did face similar things that Penrith did, but the difference is this is the professional era. That was called the professional era because the players were paid, but I wouldn't call that a professional era if you got a full-time job to go with it and you're probably only training 2 or 3 times a week. These guys are training 4 or 5 days a week, 3 times a day. It's their full-time job.
It's a different.
You know, they didn't have 11 other sides to contend with, or 10 other sides, whatever it was. I think it was 11 or 12 sides back then. They got 16 other sides. There's 17. There's another one on the way, and there'll be another one on the way. So they are the best of all time.
Leo Likes League is a Storm supporter. Commiserations, sir. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. Better luck next year. I think that the Storm will be better for it. Welcome. But yeah, look, I agree. I think that what the Panthers have achieved and what they're going to continue to achieve will be very hard to beat. I think that they will go down as one of, if not the best team of the modern era.
I was honestly, before obviously Luai and Fisher Harris left, well, now they're leaving. and I thought they were going to. I still think they might go 6 in a row, but I actually had them down for 6 in a row. And obviously, before Crichton left as well, I honestly had them 6 in a row. In saying that, they've also lost along the way of Kikau.
Burden.
Yeah, like, bloody hell, Kikau's a bullocking second row. Like, have you seen him in days for Canterbury when he turns it on? You can't even tackle him.
How good
the guy
did he
goes
play
on
against
60-metre runs, huh?
How good did he play against Manly in that
But
final
not just that, throughout the year. Remember when he against the Roosters in that first half?
Destroyed them.
I think he knocked out Tedesco as well.
Yeah, clearly.
That wasn't just that only game. There was about 4 or 5 games this year. Like, wow, like I've lost players along the way. It's just, yeah, we got that much talent that, and even this top 30 squad that. Today I was watching NITV and and Peachy was playing in the Korea knockout. Like, yeah, as Brian was pointing out in the comments earlier, it's a system they got going in place. It's a production line. Keep coming off.
Sure, they've lost Fisher Harris, but they've got some props coming through as well that they can definitely. Like Liam Henry had a good game yesterday. I think he'll do a good job.
He's another one coming
Harris,
through. Lindsay Smith. People forget Lindsay Smith's actually their own junior.
He had a great game.
He's made the Australian team. Deserve it. He's actually a gun player.
He had a great game.
And then you got the McLean brothers, and then who was the prop for Melbourne on the bench besides Henry? Yeah, Henry. And there's another few in reserve.
Yeah, they've got a couple of big boppers on the.
Somebody might be able to replace Fisher Harris right away.
I think so.
I got him as favourites again next year.
And look, if you just joined us, please be sure to give us a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. We've got a lot of content coming over the off season. We have heaps of interviews with Doggies players, with Doggies legends, with people in the administration. We have so much content coming up, so be sure to subscribe, share the podcast with your friends. We've got heaps of stuff coming up in the off season. I want to talk about a couple of contentious issues in the game. Right, a couple of things. Let's start with that no try.
Oh, right. Then I saw a footage today.
The Jack Howarth try.
No, it was no try. I know everyone keeps saying, but that camera angle shows the ball hit the ground first. But there's a footage I saw today. It's the hand always under the ball.
That's right.
That angle and that photo, actually, it's distorted. It's actually not true to what actually happened. I saw footage today, and as much as I despise this guy, Dean Ritchie, he posted the angle that the bunker can see. The footage, and I wish everyone at home had access to that.
Agreed.
They got to stop that, to stop the criticism and scrutiny. But the hand is always under the ball before it even goes down. So it was a no try. That's the end of the argument. JP, do yourself a favour. If you got Twitter, go on to Dean Ritchie. He's posted the no try. There's an angle that shows the hand is always under the ball as it's in the air, and before it starts even descending, the hand is under the ball. So you'll see that as a no try.
At no point we can assume. See, here's what people argue, and I think it's a no try. I think that
no, it was a no try. The hand is actually even wrapped underneath the ball. You know how everyone thinks the point hit the ground? You'll see it. You go,
all angles.
They got Hovarth wasn't complaining.
I mean, hang on. I want to say something. Even Craig Bellamy knew that it was a 50-50. He could not say whether it was or wasn't a try. In his press conference, he was saying that. But here's the thing, right? At no point can we say with 100% certainty that the ball may have touched the grass. Listen to that very carefully. There's no angle that shows the ball touching the grass, but we do see angles where the ball may have touched the grass. Or that's what people are arguing. I think that there was no chance of the ball touching the grass at all. Hawath's hand is underneath the ball at all times, and then the Panthers are underneath that. And you could see clearly from all angles that there is something underneath the ball. And it, as Dibbo mentioned, it looks like it's the ball, but you can clearly see there are two different bits there. There's the ball underneath the ball. And how can that be a try? And the thing is, Ashley Klein went up as a no try, which I thought was a fair call. And all they did was support the on-field decision of no try. I think that if he went up as try and the bunker said, we support the on-field decision of try, I would have been okay with that. That's the problem. If you call that a try, people are going to be...
I reckon that angle was so clear-cut, you couldn't give it a try, regardless if they went up as a try. The hand is just right underneath it.
But I'm saying that, like, if that went up as a try and the bunker said, yeah, we can't overturn that, I would also be okay with that. So really, like at that point, the officiating is like, we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. So it's like, we just got to stick to our guns. And the NRL's come out and tried to speak to the media to show them this is why it was or wasn't a try. And look, I thought that the officiating yesterday was fairly decent. Credit where it's due. Ashley Klein tried to keep himself out of the game. And sure, I think Adam G is still a better referee and probably should have been the one to referee the game. But I thought Ashley Klein, fair credit to him, did a good job. What do you think?
Yeah, he had a good game. Nothing brilliant about it, but it was good. I took it.
Yeah, he just,
at least he didn't. I didn't think he cost any side.
It didn't cost anyone the game.
Yeah, I don't think he had much to do. The pace was slow for me. It wasn't hard for him to ref. It was a slow game, despite everyone thinking it was a pulsating game. It was not.
I thought it was a great. Watching it live,
I don't know how the commentator kept saying, they're tired. Like, please, bro.
It was a very, very rough game. It was a good game.
It wasn't an expansive sort of game. Penrith just controlled it. They were too good.
JP, absolutely agree with you. Falling back at that angle, it would make more sense for the arm to be under the ball at all times. 100%. Ashley Klein is a shit referee. Chip 98.
Yeah, we already know that.
Yeah, we don't disagree, but I just thought credit where it's due.
Any ref yesterday would have done well. It wasn't a quick pace game.
Now, something else I want to talk about.
What, was it the bite?
Was it a bite?
I mean, he's got his flight, yeah. I'm just trying to mimic to what happens if you got your mouth cut half open.
Do you remember the Jack Wyden one from a couple of years ago?
Kind of like forgotten it, but I remember him getting punished.
I thought that was a bite. I thought without a doubt that was a bite.
You reckon he was hungry?
That he was frustrated and Paul Alamoti was putting on him and he was.
Yeah, but Alamoti was giving him snap. Alamoti was giving him a crossface crippler right where their mouth is, right there.
Yeah, it's part of the tackle. It's not like he was hitting him in the head. He just had. If you look at the way he was wrapped, it was more around the ball than it was supposed to be around the mouth.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
All right, look, whatever. He's saying that justifies the bite.
No, sorry, no way. Shouldn't have bitten him.
Come on, it was a bite, and the only reason that Munster's ass is being saved is because Paul Alamoti's not going on with it. But that was a bite. That was clearly a bite.
It's Munster. Of course, he's going to get off,
bro. It was a bite. It was without a shadow of a doubt. A grubby act by a grubby player, and when
certain players get off, others don't.
Like when someone like Munster,
I reckon if it was Cleary, I reckon if that was Cleary, he would have copped the 4-week suspension.
Yeah, I think so.
Cleary doesn't get off.
Anyone else would have copped it. Yeah. Hey Chip, please don't spam in the chat. We're not going to be talking about our 2025 predictions today. That's going to be for another episode that we're going to put.
We'll let you do the predictions there, Chips.
I don't think anything justifies the bite from Munster, and it's interesting when Munster doesn't get his way, he starts biting. It's sort of very, very typical for.
It's a nice cross-face crippler. The old Chris
Munster.
Benoit special.
I wasn't surprised that he did it. Absolutely pathetic. He was frustrated. He was trying to run. He was trying to do everything, but he just wasn't able to do anything at all. And it's one of those things where, again, it's not surprising from Munster, unfortunately. So what do you think? Do you think it was a bite?
It's hard because his hand's right there, like.
What are you guys thinking? Where's
the hand going to go? Like, I know Alamoti's not doing it on purpose because Alamoti's just trying to affect the tackle. I don't know, man. It's like in there, like, he's got a mouth guard as well. It's not like he killed him.
No, but it was a bite. It's a grubby act. Come on.
I just think the hand goes in there.
Come on, Carl Flanagan got 4 weeks.
I just think if the hand goes
for biting Crichton's not what's it called?
Because the other guy obviously it was obvious he took the bite.
Yeah, but so was his.
Oh,
it was
the other one drew blood. Did he need plastic surgery after that?
I think maybe he. No, I don't think so.
What
do you guys think? Was it a bite? Because I think it was absolutely a bite. It was a pathetic bite.
I'm just telling you, the opportunity presented itself. Did you hear me?
Oh, I love it. It's just a scummy act.
I just think if your hand's gone in there and you're like, it feels like he's about to break his teeth. I've had it happen to me before. Right there, it hurts.
I think
he just did it just to get him off him.
Yeah,
he did. I'm just saying, he just bit him just to release the pressure. It got the desired result. Just got to look at the circumstance. Anyways,
what a remarkable grand final.
Nothing beats the bite to the. What was Bulldog thinking? Do you remember when he got Slater in the?
We don't talk about that here.
I just still laugh at it. Did you?
We don't talk about.
You had that
here.
opportunity. You didn't ask him.
No.
I can't believe it. Can you? Studio. I never asked him that question.
We might actually get we might get James Graham back again.
I'd love
at
to.
the end of the season.
I'm gonna ask him.
Nah,
You're gonna bar me from that episode.
we don't talk about
He's gonna
that.
bar
today.
me from the episode.
So, I mean, what are any final thoughts on the grand final, Dibbo?
Deserved winner. Like I said before, I thought it was not as good as other grand finals I've seen in the past. Underwhelming. Some loser was saying top 5 for giving him a back elbow. I don't know how this guy even gets a gig for the paper. It shows jobs for mates for some certain papers, but it was good. I thought, there wasn't any calamities or catastrophes. 14-6. Reminds me of the 2000 grand final maybe between the Broncos and the Roosters. It was 14-6. Uneventful sort of grand final.
Reminds me a little bit of the 2012 grand final, the Dogs and the Storm.
No, they had everything in it. Come on. That was pulsating.
A little
Melbourne
bit.
was pulling off these great one-on-one tackles in the centres, and what.
I mean, I thought the Panthers were doing
2012 was one of the best grand finals. This one didn't even come close.
I honestly, I thought that grand final was up there. I thought it was a great grand
2012
final.
or this one?
This one. I know 2012 was a great grand final. The other,
Atmosphere was crap. Thank God I didn't go.
let me tell you something.
Can I ask you guys a question? Sorry, I know I don't have a mic, but was compared to last year's grand final, I didn't catch this year's, unfortunately, I was travelling. Compared to last year's grand final, better or worse?
So
Last
Billy, the
year's
producer's
one-
asking.
this doesn't
hang on,
compare to last year's.
Billy, the producer's asking, compared to the 2023 grand final, how does 2024 compare? I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys. What do you guys think of this year's grand final compared to last year's? Look,
Last year's was sensational.
Last year's was on a different level. I think.
Wow.
Just because, Mams scores a hat-trick in the grand final, and then Cleary, I think, plays the best 20 minutes of a 7 can play in a grand final ever.
Topsy-turvy.
Just a ridiculous
Went
grand
back
final
and
last
forth.
year. This year was a whole different type of grand final. It was more of a hard-fought, hard-won grand final, whereas last year had more points and more flair in it. So definitely different grand finals, I think, is the way I would categorize them, as very, very different grand finals. But Penrith's defense, as JP's saying, was just remarkable. Unlike anything we've ever seen before, in my opinion. Any other thoughts, Dibbo, on the grand final?
Does this one help Melbourne? Do they come back from it?
They
Have shown in the past they can, but
yeah. I mean,
I hope this is the straw that breaks the camel's back. I really do. Sick and tired of seeing them up there.
well, I mean, Bellamy mentioned two things, right? He said we're not losing any of our players. We're getting
To
some.
Kamanu.
And they say you gotta lose one to win one. Do the Melbourne Storm become the team that?
Hopefully they never play again in one. How does that sound?
Yeah, but I think that's almost impossible. They're definitely going to be there next year. Whether they're in the grand final, I don't know.
Yeah,
But they're going to be up there.
But you know what? It didn't even feel like Penrith flexed their muscles yesterday.
I think the Penrith Storm, the Penrith played as good as they could have. Any other team, I reckon Melbourne win.
That's because they're both that far ahead of the rest of the
Yeah.
competition.
But any other team, Melbourne win comfortably. The Panthers would just... And look, you know what? As well, I got to say, I think if the Panthers play any other team, they put 50 on them yesterday.
I reckon Penrith's impending 5 in a row, even if they're losing Luai and Fisher Harris.
I mean, what we'll do is we'll do a
Barring a Cleary catastrophe.
we'll do a 2025 preview.
There'll be some other
next year.
episode. Yep.
Yeah, not today. We're definitely going to do a 2025 preview. We are going to do...
I already know how that episode's going to go. Elmo's going to come out and declare the Bulldogs are going to make the 2025 grand final against Penrith. And then break their hoodoo, and then break the sequence the following year.
And we'll do a review and a preview of every team as well next year. But what we will say is we're going to be taking our live streams. We'll be taking a month off. It has been a long season. There's been a lot going on. The content's not going to stop. It's just we're not going to be going live. Every week we're going to be releasing 2 to 3 new videos, some shorter than others, some really long, well-produced stuff, but we won't be going live. Billy, the producer, has been run off his feet this year, but we will be going live again in a month. we will be doing some Pacific Championship information, but
need a break, guys. Sorry.
So we're not going to be going live for the next month, but we have a lot of content coming up. Please be sure to like the video, like the channel, subscribe, share it with your mates, share it with friends. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. We have some amazing guests in the pipeline, both Bulldogs and non-Bulldogs coming up. And, you know, next year we're also going to be starting to cover a little bit more of the NRL as opposed to just the Bulldogs. We're always going to be a Bulldogs podcast, but we are going to start moving, sort of widening our scope a little bit. But, you know, do you guys have any final thoughts on the grand final? Is there anything else that you'd like to sort of touch on, Dibbo? Is there anything else that you would like to touch on?
There was the women's grand final. That was, I think at one stage, looks like the Roosters are going to put 50 on Cronulla. I think Cronulla lost in the end by less than a try. Like, well, almighty chase down in the end.
It was a great chase down.
Olivia Koenig was the difference in the end. She had some classy touches, classy tries.
Well, I mean, she deserved. Yeah, showed why she deserved the Dally M, I think.
Yep.
She was really, really good. But you know what?
Cronulla,
Kudos to the Sharks.
they could have stolen it.
Ridiculous.
And then in the state championship, I mean, Newtown should have cleaned up North Devils, but North Devils just beat them with 4 minutes to go. I think it was just been a long.
It was a great game.
I think it's been a long physical season for Newtown. So
I think it's been a long physical season for everyone. But I do want to give a shout out to Millie Boyle or Millie
Elliot,
Millie Elliott. She's now won 4 grand finals.
3 different sides.
3 different sides.
Wow.
The only player to ever do that before was Glenn Lazarus. He's won 3 grand finals with 3 different teams.
Yep.
So
he won. I think. Hang on a sec.
Melbourne.
He won 3 with. No, he won 2 with Canberra. He won 3 with Brisbane
And 1 with Melbourne.
So he won 6 with 3 different sides.
Yeah.
Wow.
Remarkable job by Missy, Millie Elliott. You know, congratulations to her and to the Roosters for winning the women's grand final. And look, next year we will be covering the NRLW a little bit more. The Bulldogs will be obviously in the competition, so we will be covering the NRLW a little bit more. I mean, you guys let us know what you think. Should we be covering the NRLW a little bit more? Should we be widening scope of different teams as well? You know, we'd love to hear some feedback on what you guys think. We are going to be getting busier, doing a lot more for the podcast. This podcast is going to grow quite a bit. We have some really exciting plans in the works. So stick around. You know, look out for our content. Like us on socials. Also, massive congratulations to Matt Burton. He's been named in the Australian team, the Kangaroos, for the Pacific Championship.
Anyone else? Anyone else from the Dogs?
Just Matt Burton.
Well, a lot of their players will play the other sides, won't they?
Yeah. So look,
Samoa.
I think the only one who won't be playing is Stephen Crichton for Samoa.
Oh, he's not playing?
He'll be getting married. This is his
Oh,
wedding.
yeah. Kikau will play for Fiji.
Kikau play for Fiji.
Nice.
You know, and I think Kiraz as well was going to be named, but then had to pull out because he's injured. He's going to be getting some work done on his back.
He's going to play for Australia? Oh, not.
Yeah, he was going to get chosen.
So he's going to play for Lebanon.
Weren't
they meant to play against France, but because the clubs want to release their players, so they had to scuttle that 2-match series, 3-match test series.
Who, Tonga?
No, Lebanon was meant to play France.
Was it?
Yeah. But apparently the NRL or the Super League wouldn't release the players. They kind of like scuttled the whole. Would have been good, Lebanon versus France.
That's right, and Razos
colonizer versus the colonized.
Mitch Woods has been named the under-19s at the in the under-19s Kangaroos, which is nice. Fantastic as well.
What about the other big bopper?
Underhill?
Yeah, I'm
not sure.
Is he 20? I thought he was 19. No,
I think he's 20 years old.
So okay, yeah, he's 20.
Right. I mean, either way, Burton to be named in the Australian team, I think is fantastic, and it's a well earned for such a great season. I think for him to see the way Burton has grown as a 5'8", the way he's come on, I think it's well deserved. And to be honest, I know Dearden had a great year, but I thought Burton was the better 6, even though Dearden did play well for the Queensland Origin team. I thought Burton could have easily taken away the Dally M 5'8" of the year, but that's his to win next year, 100%. So big congratulations to Matt Burton and Mitchell Woods on being named. And again, I want to thank everybody for joining us this episode. We look forward to having a big next year. The Dogs have a lot going on. We're gonna be bigger, bigger, stronger. We will be going live. We're not sure when the next time we're going to go live, but it's definitely not going to be longer than 4 or 5 weeks. It might not be at the same cadence either. It might not be weekly. It might be fortnightly. And the other thing is we are moving to a new studio, hopefully. So there will be a lot of change happening, but we are growing and we are getting bigger and better. And we thank you all for coming along for the ride. Cannot wait for season 2025. We hope you enjoy the off season. We hope you enjoy the Pacific Championship. We have a lot of content. Look out for that. This is definitely not goodbye. It's just that we're just not going to be going live, but there's going to be so much happening in the off season for us that we're going to be a little bit busy. So thank you so much, guys, for your support. We hope you enjoy the podcast. We hope you enjoy interacting with us. Thank you all very, very much, and we look forward to seeing you guys in season 2025. Great season, everybody. Thank you very much, guys.